Hey guys, welcome back to the 6.86 patch analysis. I believe this is part 6 and what should be the final part of it as well. I'm joined by Atos and Dilda for the last half of this patch analysis. Thank you for helping out. And the first hero we're talking about is Undying. I felt like Undying was already phasing out of CM games. I mean, he was picked once in a while. I'm surprised to see him nerfed, actually.
You think he was getting like phased out? No way, dude. This hero is was so good towards the end of 6.85, and then with the new patch out, I think he's still gonna be pretty relevant.
I thought he was most relevant as a hero that was fairly good against Tusk, because when Tusk comes in and snowballs and initiate, that's just pretty good and easy placement for Tomb and things like that. But yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised that he's getting nerfed because he was definitely picked a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tombstone is just that good of a skill in the early stages of the game. Even in later stages of the game, actually, it's just such a powerful skill.
And you can just take fights wherever you want with Undying. Like you kind of set the pace for team fights with Undying. If you drop a Tombstone and they want to fight you, they have to fight into a Tombstone. If they run away, then whatever, you wait for the next Tombstone. So.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about Ursa, who now has a new axe. Allows you to cast your ultimate while disabled and reduce cooldown by quite a bit. So basically what your disabled did was to prevent you from taking damage. Does it debuff you is the question.
Does what debuff you?
Ursa ultimate.
No, it just made it so that you took like
Less damage.
Close to no damage. Like close
So,
to no damage. Actually. It's like an
making
80% reduction.
No, it applies a strong dispel upon cast.
Like, wait. So explain a scenario where the dispel is like really bad.
No. It applies a strong dispel, meaning it's like an aphotic shield.
A cleanse. Oh, okay, that's what you mean. So you're saying.
So basically, he has like an Abaddon ult. You could cast it while stunned.
Like a borrowed time, pretty much.
Right, but instead of gaining HP, you just reduce a ton of it. I'm officially saying that this is better than BKB than Ursa. On Ursa.
Oh yeah, for sure. After seeing this, because I mean, with BKB, like if you're caught,
You're caught. Yeah.
Yeah, but with this, you can, turn around and fight, and with this, especially with the cooldown reduction, you're definitely going to use this more than once.
I think the mana component is actually huge as well, because the dude runs on mana all the time.
Wait, I could be wrong, but the ultimate doesn't cost any mana, right?
No, just that he has such a small mana pool. Like just
small mana pool.
Yeah, using like claps and spamming your overpower. Yeah. So now it's an absolute core, right? Do you get it after a blink, Mask of Death, and this, or do you get Vlad's in between, or?
I don't think it's really necessary to ever upgrade into Vlad's. I think phase blink, Mask of Death is good enough for your early game.
And then X.
You could probably, yeah, I think it's actually worth.
Actually, I think this hero is absolutely insane now with X.
I think you're right.
How do you lock him down?
You actually can't. You have to wait it out, and then you can go.
Wait it out.
The thing about him now is that if you try to jump him, if he has scepter, if you try to jump him, he pops out and fights you. And if you don't, then you have an Ursa running around killing everyone. So, and it's not like he really needs that many items to do a lot of damage either. So I actually think this is probably a fourth item, viable item.
So how do you deal with Ursa again? Ghost?
You have to, yeah, you gotta buy kiting items. Yeah.
Alright, seems good. Alright, Vengeful Spirit also got a new scepter bonus. Remind me what the old scepter does again? It just puts it on very low cooldown, right?
Increases the range too.
Okay.
I believe. To 1200 from 900, I think. Or am I wrong?
I could double check, but real fast, Aether Lens hero?
Oh yeah, I think it's worth it. Get an even longer swap, I think it's worth it.
Okay, so the reason I'm making this comparison for this particular hero is that when you level up, you get more range on your swap. Aether Lens costs about 2k gold. Isn't Midas better?
Midas?
Because when you level up, it also gets more range. If you want to think about it like that. The only thing you don't get is a better range on your magic missile, which the spell definitely does need a range buff.
You might be. I don't think you really need the Midas. You might even be able to just go like. Actually, I don't think you would still go straight Aether Lens. Like what does a support Venge normally buy? Like you still buy
Medallion.
staffs and Medallion, Glimmer.
Well, the thing is, Aether Lens has a very nice build up for arcanes, right? And a cloak. Like it's
Okay.
just not bad.
I'm gonna quickly look up what the components are because I completely forgot.
It's the energy booster.
Energy booster, Ring of Health, and Cloak.
Cloak, yeah. It's like all good parts. Maybe the Ring of Health is very useless for a support, but even that is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad for sure.
By the way, Nether Swap Axe does not increase the cast range.
Yeah, I
It's
just
just
looked it up.
10 seconds.
Just a
away.
cooldown.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think that also. I think the other thing about it was that it allows you to swap creeps, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't think you can swap creeps without the eggs.
No. Okay, so let's talk about Aether Lens first. I want to say that she's probably one of the better heroes to get it, but you think that maybe Medallion is still better?
I think that when it comes to Medallion, it's kind of situational, right? It kind of comes down to what you
Okay, I
need
guess
it for and stuff like that.
Replace Medallion with like situationally good support item like Glimmer or Force. Like you're now comparing Aether Lens to all of those. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is still kind of situational. I still think that Force Staff is king. I
Yeah.
think the Force Staff will always beat everything else in terms of utility. Aether Lens
Sure.
is just kind of Aether Lens is kind of it's like nice to have, but it's not like it's giving you extra utility like Force Staff does. It's just improving what you currently have. So with that said, it's kind of I don't think it's like a first item worthy kind of thing, but
You bet I'll get a first item just to test it out, to see how it is.
But I definitely believe that it is an item worth getting, for sure.
700 magic missile range is not bad.
Yeah, that definitely helps. You'll get a slightly longer Wave of Terror to see more, and
Yeah.
1400 swap range, whatever.
Alright, so the Axe Scepter now, when you die, you get a Venge Illusion, and it's a true illusion. You can Hex it to get rid of it, you can Mana Burn to get rid of it immediately. It only deals 50% damage, it takes 150% damage, and is able to cast all the spells. Now, the only question I have for this is whether the 50% damage applies to your spells. Like, would your Magic Missile do half damage?
I think it does full damage.
I think I want to say that it does full damage as well. And
It's not, I mean, even if it did half damage, right, it's not, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
yeah, it's the fact that you have Venge alive to do stuff after you're dead.
After you're dead. Yeah.
And now your enemies is in a very interesting predicament of whether to chase after your illusion or not.
Well, if it's a true illusion, you can just purge it, right?
Well, I mean, not many. I mean, what if they
that's
don't have an instant hex or a purge? Like, even if you have a hex, you want to waste a hex on a Venge illusion?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is very luxury. It's kind of whatever.
You think so?
Yes, because okay, look, like say for example, if you play carry Venge, there's no way you buy this because well,
Why-
I mean,
why
I'm
not?
gonna say there's no way. I think it's good. Okay, I think it's good as a carry. But if you're playing as a carry, your opponents aren't gonna be dumb enough to not handle that situation. They'll definitely buy something to instantly kill it, right? And
Okay.
if you weigh the values, right, you're paying 4,200 to come out as an illusion after you die.
No, to also get a 10-second swap if you survive that long. Which,
Yeah.
the Axe Scepter helps.
But you're playing as a carry, right? I'm just saying this as a carry. If you're playing as a carry, 10-second swap. It's nice to have, but it's not that important because you're trying to do damage. You're not trying to position yourself to swap, right? You're trying to right-click people and stuff like that. And
You know, because nobody figured out the X Kunkka Venge play yet.
wait, what do you mean?
You X your own Venge, the Venge swaps. You X your Venge back.
Ah, that's what you mean. Yeah, that's
All right,
that's
we're going off track, but yeah, okay.
That's going off track though. Okay, so like I was saying, if you're playing a carry Venge and you buy a scepter, right? Your counter or your opponent's counter, let's say for example, whether it's a Yule's or it's a Diffusal Blade,
Wait, Yules doesn't get insta-kill illusions?
does it not?
It does
Okay,
not.
Okay, all right, let's take out Yule's then.
Hex.
Let's just say Diffusal does.
Yeah, Diffusal.
Let's
Yeah.
say Diffusal does.
Diffusal
is
doesn't.
cheaper.
Diffusal doesn't do it anymore, by the way, either. Because you don't do
doesn't.
damage to illusions. You have to get a hex, or you have to have mana drain or life drain.
Okay.
It's actually a lot better than you think.
Mm,
You gotta keep in mind this Venge is gonna throw magic missile or terror nonstop, right? It's gonna be there until your carry comes back or whatever.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not completely sold. I have to see this first. I don't think it's all that impressive. I feel like if you're really that worried about it, okay. So if you're playing support, right? Chances are
You
not
can't
gonna
afford
lose.
this. You can't afford this.
And if you're playing carry, I feel like you're gonna draft against it. So you'll have a way to do it.
Really? You're
Yeah,
gonna
I think
draft
you are.
against an Axe Venge when they show a Venge it's probably even a support? I don't know. I'm not sold on this.
I don't think you'll draft against it, but you should have a way to deal with it. There's got to be a way to deal with it.
All right.
And that's
I'm saying it's very good if you can farm it.
The one thing that might change my mind that I'm not sure about yet is whether or not if you let's say you die and you get your illusion right, does the enemy team have your negative aura?
Yes.
While you're
Yes.
okay, they do.
And you have your positive aura still.
And you have your positive aura.
That alone should be enough, right?
That alone might be worth it then. Yeah.
That's so good.
Because and the thing.
The more we talk about this.
The thing about it too is that I guess if you do die, you can just swap out to safety, so you can avoid all the potential.
Oh, dude, you can keep swapping people too. Holy.
Yeah, you can keep swapping people.
Damn.
Maybe it'll.
Maybe.
Uh,
All right. You want to hear something
there's no way
funny?
well, there's no way you buy this as a first item though.
No, you don't.
There's no way. But yeah.
Dude, you remember the Midas versus Aided Lens comparison I had? Maybe you go Midas X.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
As a support, I mean, I think that's only viable as a support.
Yeah.
If you're carry, I don't think you have to buy Midas. But if you're support, maybe you do save up for Midas. But yeah, I'm not sold on that idea either. But it's a possibility.
All right. So I tried this something funny in a lobby. I got Ags on Rubik, right?
Okay.
I stole swap from Venge. I died.
Okay.
And I had a Rubik illusion that could still spell steal and do shit. It will never come up ever, but it's just like
You might not know. That actually might be the counter to Venge. Yeah, who knows? That's super legit.
that is super legit. All
That's
right.
like pretty damn fucking good, dude.
But after that, so after I made a Rubik illusion, right? After that, all that situation, I spawned a Arctic Warden, and had him use his ultimate, but I cannot steal that ultimate in my illusion form to make more. Yeah, I went really deep with this, but anyways, all right. Veno getting a buff, Visage getting a buff, Warlock getting a buff. I don't think any of these are that important to talk about, right?
I don't think they're that important.
Or is the Weaver buff that big of a deal?
I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's actually it's nice, but
They attack much faster now.
it's much faster. But it's still not going to change much about Weaver. Like it's still going to be Weaver. I don't think the swarm change is going to make it enough that all of a sudden he does a gajillion damage. You know.
Well, no. I think we might be too hasty about this because we've been playing Weaver in just one way, right? Because he's only been played as a one way. Can you envision him under a scenario where he's played more as a, let's say, an offlaner that maxes Sakuchi and then Swarm, and you're looking to be more of a hit and run kind of fighter, like the Ricky that we talked about earlier?
Oh.
And now I feel like the site, like the numbers at least suggest that.
I feel like that's how you should always be playing Weaver, anyways. Whether he's position one or anything. Like, I think the only team I've ever seen run it is, I think it's VP.
Okay.
And Illidan played it, and it was G who ended up being the carry, and they bought like Scepter on Weaver. So you could siege towers and just time lapse him.
Exactly.
And just walk away. So, like I said though, these changes don't really change that. If you were to play him like that, it's just a minor. I want to say it's a minor. It's kind of like a decent buff, but it's still Weaver. You know, if you pick Weaver, he's still gonna do whatever you want Weaver to do.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Windranger. I think the shackle being destroyable is pretty big.
Yeah.
You don't blink back and gets your team shackled together.
The one thing I wanted to point out is that the shackle shot speed thing is actually quite noticeable. I was trying it out, and I think that Windrunner is actually pretty good as a support now, because this shackle shot speed thing comes out so quickly. It's not as hard to
Okay.
go for like ganks and stuff like that.
So the power shot speed no longer decrease. I never knew that even decreased, but okay.
I couldn't notice it either.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too big of a deal. The shackle shot is definitely a nerf because you can disjoint it now. But I think Windranger is still pretty damn strong, honestly.
Yeah.
There's nothing that changed about focus fire or anything. And the shackle shot is a nerf, but at the same time, if you have a blink, right, it's not going to be that hard to latch onto people. It's going to be hard to latch like two heroes together, but if you're going to blink gank someone, you're still going to get them pretty easily, and it's going to be even faster too because of the speed increase. So I think Ranger is still going to be Ranger. You'll still do a crap load of damage and instantly kill people with focus fire.
All right, Winter Wyvern will no longer be Winter Wyvern, however. Cold Embrace, big nerf. Arctic Burn, I tried it out in a game. It's a pretty big nerf as well. Curse has a... Now Curse is a spell that you have to throw on somebody and expect your enemies to kill them. Which, it does help in the fact that they all get plus 50 attack speed. It's a bigger AoE. But you can't help at all, because they are immune to damage.
I actually think it's still a really, really good skill.
But you can't draft it. It's not as easy to do anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like oh, I'm gonna curse you and then boom.
But so this is how I see it though, because with so you get bonus attack speed. It lasts significantly longer. It went from 3.5 to 4.75.
Okay.
That's like a really big thing. Chances are, if you were to target, let's say, their mid hero or offlane hero or a really important support, they're gonna die, right?
Sure.
And
Are they?
not only that.
Not if they're tanky enough.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, let's say they're tanky enough. Because of this long duration and increased AoE, it makes it so that they're very vulnerable to after the duration ends, So it's still a decent setup. I think it's still a really good skill, but
I think Metallion's core on this hero now. For your hero. For
Wyvern?
sniping with your curse.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, it's just not a bad item to have.
Yeah,
but
it's not a bad item to have.
I don't know if it's better than Glimmer though. The thing is,
it's situational. It's not that expensive either. It's really easy to farm with Winter Wyvern, so it's. I mean, Solar Crest is always a good item. So.
Yeah. Aether Lens hero. I feel like his range is already so wide, it's so long that I'm not sure what I even need it.
I don't think Aether Lens is necessary.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like when I first read these spells, I thought she was unplayable, but I guess I'm starting to see she might be okay. I guess I'll find out once I spam her a couple games in pop games.
I think that she's still decent. I don't think she's as strong as before, but I think she's still a decent hero.
What about picking her to wombo combo in a different way? Like, do you time it such that your bolt lands or your earth splitter lands, or do you think that's just too hard?
I think that's asking for too much. You might as well do something else, or use someone else with that, or to do that.
But do you feel like you almost don't want to land too good of a curse? Or let's say the first time you play Winter Wyvern, you land a good curse and your teammate just goes ham, right? Like they just don't understand. I don't know. I'm dreading that moment.
I see what you mean. Yeah, it's really hard to say. It has a completely different function.
Yeah, now you almost want to run into an enemy team by yourself. You get off a curse and you run. Versus before, you want to be 5v5, you get off a curse and you win,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, now, it's gotten nerfed in one way, but it's also gotten buffed in another way, right?
Yeah.
You could also use it as a
stun, I guess.
BKB, yeah, it's like a BKB piercing stun.
Well, no, though, because before you were stunned and you could kill somebody. Now you stun and just what? You run away.
Yeah, but the thing is, the duration is longer now. So
Right, but it's longer, but you can't do anything. What's the point of having it
but
longer?
no, but that's not what I mean though. Like it's much. It's like I see a 1.25 increase as like an eternity. That's how I see it. And
I agree with
let's say you take a team fight and you just ult their carry in China, right? Their carry cannot do anything for 5 seconds.
Why
'cause they're
China?
So far away. Because China's the furthest thing probably from me. You never heard that term?
No. Older thing in China.
I mean, it's probably a World of Warcraft thing, I guess. When we refer to targets from like who are miles away from us.
Okay, in
we
China.
Refer to that as China, yeah.
Well, Aetherlens helps you ult things from China, if you want.
Okay, then
Yeah.
sure. Aetherlens it up. ult their carry or whatever you're trying to isolate in China. You can fight their team for 5 seconds.
All right, I'm not sold, but we'll see. All right,
It
Maledict.
definitely has its uses.
We'll see. Maledict, a couple of buffs, great. Wraith King. Now you could toggle it on, so you could level up a level 2, and have it on. Great.
No, it makes if you're playing carry, it makes it
Yeah,
easy.
it makes a pretty decent deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned a lot of these items already. The one that we haven't touched that much is the Fairy Fire. What's your thought on the item? It gives you 2 damage, and
Okay,
you can consume
so-
it for 75 HP.
75. The way I see Fairy Fire is it is an early game outplay item. That's all I can see it as. The value is not there, but 75 burst heal at at level 1, there's room for outplays.
I mean, if you compare it directly to a GG branch, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
It's
The
actually,
problem is you can't build it into anything, and it's got to go eventually.
I mean, a lot of times GG branches get sold randomly anyways, so.
Yeah, either that or you make it into one. But
Yeah.
most of the time it's turned into a one.
Or now it's a tree.
Oh yeah, or now it's a tree. Yeah, you can. I tested a couple of spots. It's not that difficult to block off paths and side shops and stuff like that to get away.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. But yeah, Fairy Fire. In terms like when I first saw it, I thought it was like kind of bad. But if you just spend 75 gold, it's just like a one-time item thing. It's okay for the early game because it's a 75 heal is nothing to sneeze at.
Would you get this on Shadow Fiend for last sitting early? Or no Wraithfan is just much more.
I think. Well, if you buy Wraithband, you have enough money for Fairy Fire still. So.
All right, plus 11 damage right from the game.
It's not bad. I mean, the 75 heal is. You basically buy this for the 75 heal. I wouldn't even. The 2 damage is nice, but I wouldn't emphasize that over the 75 health.
All right, fair enough. Dragonlance, plus 135 range. No, 130 attack range. Old Club and Quarterstaff. It's a very cheap item.
I think it's too strong for how cheap it is. I think.
You think
this
so?
item's actually.
All right, we're gonna have a big debate about this.
I think this item is OP in the right hands, and
Who are the right hands? Are you talking about heroes or players?
about heroes.
Okay,
Heroes.
who's
So
it OP on?
let's say for example, Enchantress. I think it's broken on Enchantress.
Really? All right, let's have the discussion. If you want range, there's a better range item for her. Correct?
Yeah, it's a scepter.
Yes.
Yes.
And afterwards,
But-
don't you think it's better to focus on more mana regen, or more
No,
utility?
okay, but this is the thing though. Wait, do you know how much range it adds to scepter adds to Enchantress?
I can look it up right now.
Yeah, help me look it up.
I keep talking though.
Well, okay, so some other heroes I thought about. Sniper, one of the obvious ones. You get.
It
1000
adds
attack range.
190 range.
Okay, 190 range. Okay, on a scepter.
Okay.
Dragonlance, 130. You're missing 60. Cost is less than half,
Yeah.
and you're
But
still
you
getting
all-
attack damage, strength. Like you have everything you want.
So are you saying you get this
early game.
over the Axe?
I would get this over Ags as the first item on Enchantress because 130 attack range is a lot for an Enchantress, and it'll make you really strong. And you can fight much earlier too, right? It's not like you have to take that long route to scepter buildup. Because like you're getting more than half the value of a scepter, right? At more than double the
Okay.
speed because it's
Okay, here's my spiel with this hero. If you are getting this item simply to increase your range, but you don't have any damage to back it up, I don't think it's a good buy.
No, but that's the thing though. Attack range translates to damage.
Yes,
because
for
of the
Enchantress, yes. For Sniper, no.
Yes. For Sniper, no. You would never buy this as a first item. But it is a good item, regardless. That's what I'm trying to say. For Sniper, you'll buy this eventually on Sniper. I think it's worth it.
Would you
probably
though?
buy it as, like,
Wouldn't you start running
probably buy
out?
it-
Wouldn't you start getting like? Wouldn't you want a real damage item? Like for 2K, that's a Yasha. You know, that's a
No,
Crystallis.
but that's what I'm saying though. You don't buy it as a first item. You
I
buy it
no,
as
I
a
agree.
second
I
or
agree.
third item.
Let's say
Oh,
you
you're talking
finish.
about even afterwards.
Even afterwards, wouldn't you just get more damage? Like, in what scenario you want more range as a sniper already?
But if you pick Sniper, I feel like his strengths.
Is this in his range, right? Like, if they get up to you, they get up to you. Like, you think the 100 and extra 30 distance would make them not blink to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's that important. 130 ranges is a lot, man. I think, like, you can, with that little amount of range, it's enough for your team to react or something like that to possible engagements and stuff like that.
Well, say hello to Ricky, I guess. I don't know. I was thinking more of like heroes that already output a ton of damage. So, for example, the old OD
Like-
or
Well,
the
no,
new
no,
Silencer.
Forget about OD. It's I think another hero that I thought this was really good on is TA.
Oh, Sideblades.
With level 4 side blades and Dragonlance, you have pretty normal attack range. This is like 600. And
That
it's
would
just a
help
hero
Mel
that
Strike.
just-
Yeah, that you would definitely get it on her.
And I think this is also a really good item on TA. And another hero I thought was really good on was.
What about
I think it's
Clinks?
okay on. I think it's okay on Luna. Clink's probably okay too. I think it's a pretty decent item on Luna.
You would get this on
Yes.
Enchantress. I guess I should try it out before I knock it, but it just doesn't
Yeah,
seem
I would,
like.
I would get this. I would get this on Enchantress simply because you want the attack range, and it stacks with your scepter. So why wouldn't you get both, right? And if you're gonna get both,
Because it
pick the
costs
control.
money. That's why.
Yeah, but even if it costs money though, right? You just go for that. You can just go halfway first, and it's not like it gives you the stats you want for early game and late game, right? It's life, attack speed, and damage, and the attack.
I'm expecting, if this item gets a nerf, I'm expecting one of these components to get to a weaker one. Because both these
No,
components is.
I think the best nerf to it is just to add a recipe cost. Maybe like 500 gold to make the item instead of just Ogre Club and Quarterstaff.
Can you just? Oh, cannot be disassembled. Okay.
No, it says it can be disassembled.
Oh, can be disassembled.
Yes.
I guess the only real late game chance you would ever disassemble this is for Butterfly, right? Let's say you don't. Would you ever disassemble this if you're gonna buy this item?
I mean, you can use the Ogre Club for a BKB, dude.
Right, but I'm asking if you're gonna make the decision to buy this item, you're probably not disassembling, right?
Yeah, probably. And
Unless-
if you do, I don't know what options you have for Ogre Club makes a lot of stuff, but Quarterstaff doesn't make that many things.
Dude, BKB Butterfly for Gyro, right? Like you just like get an early Dragonlance for value. Except you have Flak already, so
Yeah,
it's not
that's
even
true.
value.
Oh, that's actually really true.
Is
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually really value. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it?
I think so.
All right.
Because I mean, your normal gyro item buildup is like Sanjin Yasha BKB at the moment, right? So you can go Sanjin Yasha,
Dragonlance.
and then BKB. Yeah, you'll have a short period where you have extra range and stuff like that.
All right. Speaking of extra range, we talked this item to death a lot. Aether Lens. I don't think we need to really add more upon it, unless you have any other hero that you thought that we haven't really discussed. That
There's just too many possibilities. You have to wait and see what people are doing with it and stuff like that.
All right, cool. All right, the item that we haven't talked about at all is the Iron Talon. How do you feel that this item fits?
Iron Talon is pretty unique in the sense that I think there's gonna be a lot more
Jungling?
cheesy jungling strats. Yeah, I think a lot of melee heroes can actually just straight up go into the jungle now. And I think it's actually worth buying on a lot of melee supports too, because they can get farm from the jungle just by killing stuff.
So any hero that previously can't jungle, but now you could do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
No, any particular hero in mind that you think this will help?
I would have to think about that. There's a lot of random supports that could come into play, I guess. I would probably buy it on. If I was playing Sand King, I'd probably buy it on Sand King.
Interesting.
If I was playing support Abaddon, I'd probably buy him Abaddon.
I could see the Abaddon. Yeah, working out.
And maybe I would probably buy on Earthshaker too.
Interesting. I had a support shaker in my lane buying that for me, but he was just taking the lane creeps, which I do not recommend. It makes the Lifestealer jungle much better. You can open wounds and
Lifestealer jungle, yeah.
like sick.
Bloodseeker jungle
Yeah.
too. All the melee junglers, yeah. Legion Commander as well. I would probably buy this on almost any melee character, to be honest.
It actually increases your speed, your farming speed by a sick amount. So, and the stats is not bad. +2 armor. It's like okay,
Yeah,
it's cheap.
it's really not bad. A lot of starting heroes buy Quelling Blade and Ring of Protection anyways, right?
Yeah.
But so you're paying 125 for the 40% reduction.
It is a huge up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's for any. The only thing about it is that you wouldn't buy. I don't think you would buy it if you're like. Well, maybe you still do actually. I don't know. Like for example, you play Anti-Mage, and you use your Quelling Blade to make a Battle Fury. Would you still buy Battle Fury and have Iron Talon?
No.
Yeah. So that,
Yeah.
like that's one of the situations. But I think almost every other situation, I would probably upgrade into Iron Talon.
I think you want Iron Talon on a hero that doesn't already farm very fast.
Yeah. So like other ones would be Spectre, probably be a good candidate.
Rave King.
And Wraith King. Slardar, I'd probably buy it. I buy it on support Spirit Breaker, Night Stalker.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of melee supports have trouble keeping up, getting anything, right? And if you're not getting anything from killing people, then this item's definitely worth buying to jungle with.
All right, so talking about Abyssal Blade, I need to talk about Javelin first, which is one of the components. They basically made all the Javelin component and their upgrades much more RNG based. They reduce the damage by half, and basically,
The proc is like
when you crit, it's doubled.
Right.
So
I don't know how I feel about that. Overall, I don't like it, but
it basically can make you have to value attack speed more when you have items
Right.
like these.
right.
Which
It's hard to say. I feel like it's a buff to for some heroes, not so much of a buff for others. Where you do buy them. So say for example, if you were a Wraith King and you bought
Right.
Basher, I think it's much worse.
yes,
But if you're an Ursa and you bought a Basher,
That's-
it's probably much stronger.
much stronger. Yeah. How do you feel about PA? Because she's in an interesting place where one of her spell increases attack speed, but then her ultimate wants more damage. I think it's more even. Or?
I think it's pretty even. Yeah. The thing about PA2 is that I don't think you would buy Basher as a first item anymore. It's definitely not enough damage anymore. I think you would have to go Battle Fury or something to farm and then
Yeah,
transition. But I think overall it's. I think I would consider it a nerf. If you're playing a hero that buys Basher.
Yeah. All right. So I don't think any item had such a big change. The courier got cheaper. Wards got cheaper. The bottle. Do you need to really talk about the bottle? You can buy it from the side shop now with one charge, and then you're
Wait. Well, one thing. Okay, so one thing about the courier and stuff like that.
okay.
It's kind of a small thing, but as a support player, I would also consider it like something to note. Is that not only did the courier get cheaper, but
Smoke got cheaper.
the smoke got cheaper too. So I mean, it all adds up, and what it means is just that whoever's playing, support is going to have
A medallion or a Glimmer Cave. Yeah.
somewhat of more items as the game progresses. So.
Boots got cheaper too.
Yeah, and boots got cheaper as well. So you were trying to talk about the bottle.
Is there anything even to talk about?
I mean, it got nerfed. So one interesting about it is that you can buy it in the side shop.
Yeah.
It starts with one charge. It's kind of interesting. Something offlaners look towards on occasions. But I don't know. I think a bottle did need to get nerfed. It was a little too powerful. It made the bottle crowing
It feels like bottle
powerful.
or bottle crowing has been getting nerfed every patch.
Yeah, because it's just like bottle crowing pretty much allowed like heroes that normally wouldn't be able to lane mid able to lane mid.
I thought the initial argument was that now we can see more variety mid, but
Yeah,
not really.
ever since they made the rune change, though, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Ever since they made the rune change, I think they wanted to aim more towards like, oh, if we want to take a rune, like, you gotta have people contesting it, you know.
Yeah.
And if people aren't contesting it, then you get a bottle refill instead of having to crow.
All right, what do you think about Vanguard or Octarine's Vanguard now changing their block chance from essentially 75% to 100%, but of a lower block?
I know for sure they're trying to buff Vanguard as a whole.
Yeah.
Because no one buys them. I don't know how the math works out, but I'm fairly certain that is a significant buff. I could be wrong.
Well, against certain heroes, right? Against PL especially.
Yeah. I think it's become more of a okay to buy situationally, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what happens to the item for Vanguard. Like, you wouldn't ever consider it as a top tier defensive item, but it's probably good in certain situations.
I mean, a lot of times you still want a Force Staff over Vanguard, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, Force Staff as a defensive item is just better than.
Well, but I mean, but this is Vanguard was never a item you pick over utility. The only time you ever buy Vanguard is on a core that needs to survive.
I guess so.
So, I mean, there's no way supports would ever buy this. So the only people you can consider to have this is like a core hero, and a lot of core heroes would pretty much skip this item.
Sure. I think they need to give it more HP because Sanj is just better in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I think that's actually pretty fair. This 100% block thing is not bad though. Another thing they could do too is up the health regen you get from it. If they up the health regen to it, then it makes your sustain much better. If you were to have a Vanguard, and the block chance combined with if they were to change the health regen would make it so that you could just jungle freely, and it's almost like you never run out of health. So.
All right, let's move on. There's a lot of items. Actually, much more than I thought there would be. Heart getting another buff. Glimmer K getting nerfed. None of these are too big. Helmet Dominator now sets the dominate creeps to 350 movement speed, which is actually pretty good. Yeah, like your dominate centaur moves pretty fast.
Yeah, especially with how they just nerfed the boots again.
Yes.
People will not move as fast as 350 anymore.
Yep. Hood of Defiance now has one active. Basically, remember the old storm? The old storm.
The super old one, yes. I remember barrier.
It made this, right? I guess the Ember Shield now is the same thing.
Right. This is actually pretty cool. I kind of like this.
But the thing is, you already have Hood, so how much that even helps? I guess you're really immune to magic.
That's huge, though.
It is huge.
Yeah. Well, because if you buy Hood, if you have this basically makes Hood of Defiance. Like, you still have the Hood. Nothing changes about it stats wise. But now you have an active that absorbs an extra 2 or 325. So if you were to play against like a nuke heavy team, this is pretty massive.
Here's my thing though. Generally, when you get Hood into pipe, it's mostly for your team. I find very few heroes just getting it for themselves. I guess I could see Pudge doing it.
That's kind of true. But I mean, at the same time, like, I think the build-up for Hood into pipe is still going to remain true. But I mean, there's no downside anymore to it, right? Like,
was there ever a downside?
There's no downside. It's still a positive thing. Like, the only difference now is that I feel like this is kind of a minor change, just because like you're still building into a pipe, and that little gap you have from going into a Hood into a pipe is now like bridged with this
I guess the better question to ask is, would you ever buy a Hood as it is?
As it is, probably not. Probably just leave it as a cloak, unless situationally, like, there is really that much magic damage. Then like it's a kind of a different story. It might be viable.
Yeah. Okay, that's
because
fair.
you can probably stack this with pipe anyways. So.
All right.
If you stack it with pipe, then you're absorbing close to 800 or 700.
Pipe does 400, so you're getting 725.
725. Yeah.
All right, now you can plant trees.
This shit is. We're gonna see a lot of funny shit with this.
Yeah, you could do a lot of like choke point blocks and jukes and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay.
This is where the new map knowledge is really gonna show.
Yeah, or not show.
Or not show. You're gonna plant a tree and people just walk around and you're gonna be like, oh fuck.
Okay, Octarine Core, affecting charge abilities being replenished. I think the
This is
big,
kind of big.
yeah, big thing affecting Earth Spirit, affecting the new Death Prophet.
Yeah.
Who are the other big charge heroes?
I don't think Death Prophet is that big of a deal because you would still get Octarine regardless of the new patch change.
Right, it helps. Yeah.
But it helps, yeah. Okay, so this is probably one of the bigger ones, and I'm gonna go with Ember Spirit.
Okay, fair enough.
And,
Really?
Yeah. Well, dude, Remnant's
Slight?
important as hell.
Yeah.
Slight, yeah.
But you run out of slots with that hero.
That is correct. So that's why I'm kind of on the fence with it. But we did have this discussion before, with some other players, and we were talking about how Octarine Core would probably be a really legit item on Ember if it affected his old charges. And what do you know? 686 it does now. So
All right, how big is phase? You can phase while casting.
it's pretty big.
Would you get this on Bristleback?
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah?
it's really good on Bristle.
But he needs attack speed, doesn't he? Like Warpath takes care of movement speed, doesn't take care of attack speed.
I feel like while he needs attack speed, with this change, it makes it worth it because attack speed is like you can cover that in the later stages of the game, but in the earlier stages of the game, if you can keep casting stuff while moving quickly, I think it's gonna be stronger than being able to attack quickly.
Granted, the phase speed or the phasing time got reduced, so it's honestly not that big of a deal. It's only good for, or this only made it a little bit different for some heroes that you need to spam cast while moving, which Bristleback is the only person I could think of.
That's actually a good point.
Maybe phase build Shrek, but I mean, is that even a thing?
I don't think that's too good.
Yeah.
Maybe Pudge.
Yeah, I mean, you're not casting really much.
I mean, you gotta toggle on and off.
Rot.
Stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
alright.
I don't know. And having movement speed is always important.
Alright, let's talk about Rotted Atos, because I think this is actually one of the biggest items for this patch. Cripple?
Okay, so I talked about this a bit yesterday, and Rod of Atos is kind of like a minor counter to the
Evasion.
butterfly gap. Yeah, the evasion gaps.
Yeah.
So it's gonna completely nullify Solar Crest, if I'm correct.
I'm not sure whether you are or not. Does it just like, is it a flat addition minus or subtraction? Like,
That's my guess.
okay.
And if that's correct, then it completely overrides Solar Crest. And
Very good against Windrun. Well, not very good, but you know.
it's not very good, but it gives you opportunities to hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's basically the
PA?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and PA. Yeah, it's a very good counter for PA. And basically the discussion came down to like, it's like a very good item now for your mid or your off lane, whoever can get farm. Like let's say there's a situation where your carry just bought an item that isn't an MKB and your opponent's just picked up a butterfly out of nowhere. So your carry's not gonna have MKB for a really long time. So Rod of Atos is now the new route you can take. Is where someone else has applied Rod of Atos to counter the evasion while you wait for your carry to get MKB.
Right. Also, takes away Radiance. The miss chance, yeah.
So Rod of Atos is actually pretty. I mean, honestly, I've always thought it was really good.
No, I think all of us recognize it's good, but when you're in the game, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get 4 staff now, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a mech now into Greaves. It's just
So
like
now Rod of Atos has like really important situations where you actually need this item.
okay. The next big change is Silver Edge no longer dispellable, so it could really f up that Huskar.
Alright, if Huskar's done for.
But actually,
completely irrelevant.
this is really good against Ursa too, because you can't dispel
That's
this,
true.
and it's
That's true.
minus 40% damage output when you break them.
I don't know what the number is gonna be like, but it's definitely good against Ursa. What does it take away? It takes away your Fury Swipes, so.
No, not that, but you also reduce their damage output. Let's see.
Wait, what do you
Enemy
mean?
Wait, you know it does that too, right? It doesn't just break somebody. It also reduces enemy damage reduction by 40%. So if you break Alina and she casts Laguna Blade on you, it's 40 damage or 40% less effective.
Okay. I'm not even gonna lie. I actually didn't know that about.
All right.
Learned something new. Interesting.
There you go.
Thought it was always just a passive breaker, but
No, it does other stuff too.
professional player, guys.
All right. Smoke now cheaper. We talked about this. Okay, I'm actually very sad that they changed tangles. Now that when you eat a ward, it doesn't heal like a ton. It only heals longer.
Right. Instead of the I mean, technically it's still a boosted tango, but you don't get that burst heal as fast now. So.
Dude, the reason I'm bringing this up is you
You're a
have
bounty picker.
yeah, you have a bounty picker. You
I
have
know
these
that already.
yeah, and then you just like laugh at them when you have what 12 HP regen per second in mid, and you just like sit there. Anyways,
Okay.
Veil also
Well,
getting a buff.
Let's see, Veil.
2 Robe of
okay,
Magi is the recipe, so more int.
That's a pretty big buff. It's more. It's like. I mean, if you ever picked up a Veil, it's you want it for the active, but this is a nice buff. So it makes it more viable as the first item for like Zeus, for example, and that kind of stuff.
Alright, and that's gonna be it for the patch. Any final thoughts?
I mean,
I know you weren't here for like half of it, so if you want to go back to some of the other things. I did try the Axe route, by the way. It is ridiculous.
It is, right?
It is.
On paper, it's nothing. It doesn't sound like anything.
On
but
paper, it
once you
sounds
see-
dumb. Yeah.
Once you see how it actually works, it's super powerful.
I compared to playing Enfos. Though how fast I was killing creeps with Maelstrom Axe.
It's super fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, only time will tell. You got to see what people are coming up with. It's hard to really get a grasp of this patch just by reading it. I think one of the biggest things to me at least, is the terrain change and the added camps,
For sure.
and how I believe it will change the pace of the game. I think 6.85 was already very like early fight engagement, a lot of brawling kind of focus. Now it's gonna have even more of that. So.
Wait, did you read this? Tower and siege units do approximately 13% more damage to heroes.
I think that's like
Can't tower dive, bruh.
you can still do it. I think it's not big enough of a change where it's going to.
Yeah, it's not League of Legends where you
It's
cannot.
not League of Legends
Yeah.
level. Yeah, you're not gonna get two-shotted by towers, so you're fine.
You know that towers in that game is like a fairy swipe effect.
Yeah,
The second hit hurts even more. It's like, hey, you didn't learn from this first
you
hit.
can't fountain dive in that game, dude. It sucks. The fountain will actually kill you in less than 1 second.
Oh, it's like a laser, right? It's
It's
just
a laser. It just instantly kills you.
damn.
Yeah. It's not 13%. It's not enough to dissuade anyone from diving.
You can see both of us are League of Legends experts. I have Flash. Do you have Flash?
I have Flash.
Okay.
I would like to let you know that I am very high level. I am 23.
Wow. You're
Yeah.
much better than me. I'm only
I'm
16.
an expert in League of Legends.
Alright. When Dota's a bit too boring to play.
Not with this patch. Another long series of Dotaing before anything gets stale, I think.
Alright, do you want to shout out anybody or your own Twitter before we put this one away?
No, I think I'm more humble than that.
Alright, I'll shout you out. He's the big deal. He's Aosin, and you
Yeah,
can
that's it
find
for
him
me.
at Aosin Dota. And of course, I'm Luminous at LuminousInverse. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, as always, it's been a long one, and thank you guys for listening all the way to the end. I appreciate it. Until next time, this is Luminous and Aosin, and we are signing off. GG, guys.